What's going on? It's your favorite Pastor Ty here, and we are beginning a new sermon series. You can handle it. And today, the sermon I think is going to bless you. Did you know you can handle the wilderness? The wilderness. So let's talk about that today, and I'll see you on the other side. Peace.
Scream out, say, I got this. I got it. Yeah. It's interesting to me, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I've reached the age y'all gonna let me finish or what? I don't know. Well, I've reached the age where I can make references to the good old days. You know what those are, don't you? It's typically a reference when somebody older will make concerning to somebody that's younger than them. And I'm at the age now when I talk to people younger than me, I like to reference the good old days. You know, the good old days when we had CD players. You'd have to go to the store and actually purchase a CD and put it inside of something called a CD player. Now, you had to be careful with the CD player because too much movement and you scratch the CD. Then some of you know you have to take some alcohol and a cotton swab and rub it around the CD to try to clean the disc in order to listen to the music the good old days. Or the good old days when we actually played outside. And depending on where you grew up, this is only for about half the room, depending on where you grew up, you didn't have the luxury of equipment. So with childlike ingenuity, you had to make up your own games. That's why we would play games like Duck, Duck, Goose and Cops and Robbers and Red Light, Green Light. You know, Simon Says, we made up our own games because it was the good old days. The good old days when you would have grass stains on your jeans and come to the door based upon the timing of the street lights. But be careful because you couldn't come in the house with those outside clothes on. You had to take those off and get in the tub because mama didn't play that. I'm talking about the good old days. The good old days before we had smartphones and we had to travel. Remember, we didn't always get in the car and give a destination to Siri. You had to get an actual paper map. And you had to track your actual journey on the map. And during this time, if you missed, then you had to look back at the map and navigate your way back onto the right path. But time would go on, and then we would get introduced to something called MapQuest. And you know, we thought we were doing something with MapQuest because MapQuest was a total lifesaver because MapQuest, you could type in your starting point and your destination. And MapQuest would give you the distance distance or the route from getting to point A to point B. But now y'all done got so fancy and bougie. Y'all got Google Maps and Waze and Apple and all we have to do is to use our phones to get us from point A to point B. Our phones and these apps are the most accessible GPS devices ever in history. GPS, Global Positioning System. Our GPS system makes decisions based upon satellites owned and operated by the U.S. government. And while I'm here, I should note some black excellence here, that it was because of a beautiful woman by the name of Dr. Gladys White that we have a GPS system. See, getting from point A to point B, getting from point A to point B. We always find ourselves in some sense of transition, and that's what the children of Israel have to do. They've got to get from point A to point B. They have to get from point A, Egypt, to point B, Mount Sinai. And Yahweh comes to Moses in Exodus 3 saying, go down, tell Pharaoh he better let my people go. And at my former place of employment, worked a lady by the name of Dr. Judy Fentress Williams, who works at Virginia Theological Seminary. She notes that Exodus is the signature event of the Exodus. It's the signature event of Yahweh. It's these Israelites that have been slaves for over 400 years, and God makes this decision to deliver them out of Egypt. Dr. Judy mentions that the actual departure, preachers, from Egypt is the metaphorical birth of a nation. You see, you have the symbols of water and blood that are associated and paired together in these events, while blood on the doorposts and water that the Israelites must pass through. It's a nation that is being born. God is birthing God's own nation. They are on their way to the mountain. They are on their way to where God promised them. But then verse 17 interrupts our text and says, when Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them along the way, the road to the land of the Philistines, even though it was nearby. That verse 20 says, as a matter of fact, they had to camp in the wilderness. Can I be honest with you all? I had a whole sermon planned that I was going to preach here today. I was going to do this whole concept about how you and I can lose God. I had a whole thing planned out until I heard God say to me very clearly, Ty, you've got this all the way wrong. Don't be so concerned with losing me, because the reality is I've never lost you. You see, humanity, hear me, humanity has numerous examples wherein you and I have lost things. We've lost planes, we've lost people, we lose our keys. Some of y'all even lost your children. We lose documents, we lose things, and we lose things for a number of reasons. But God says, don't worry about that, because I'll never lose you. Remember, I stated that Exodus is about the birthing of a nation, that this nation, they are toddlers or children, and now they are intentionally being led into the wilderness. And in the wilderness, the concern shouldn't be about losing God. I'm thankful for the fact that God never lost me. Can I park here for a moment? Because I'm only talking to 5 people in the room that feel like, Rev, I'm going through the wilderness right now. If you really knew everything I was going through, if you really knew everything I've been experiencing just this year long, it almost feels like God downloaded my situation in your study time. I can remember a couple of months ago, my wife and I went on a hike, actually not too far from here, and on this sign it said, what is wilderness? And this blessed me. It said, wilderness is a place where natural processes are the primary influences on the land and human activity. It's limited to primitive recreation. It is a place where the imprint of humans is substantially unnoticed. You know, I thought about that, but isn't that what the wilderness is for many of us? It's a place where the imprint of God seems to be going unnoticed. Who am I talking to in the room? You've been praying, you've been fasting, you've been crying, you've been pacing the floor at night, and you just can't seem to be able to find God. And God sent this lock-haired boy from Memphis, Tennessee to come to FIBC to tell you, don't worry about about you losing God, God ain't never lost you. You know, I like this passage because there was a shorter and more convenient route for them to take to get to the mountain. But God does not do that. God led them into the wilderness. And maybe there's someone asking here today or listening to me that feels like you're experiencing this. And you're saying, why am I experiencing this? Why am I dealing with this? It's because you're in the wilderness. Why are you crying so much? It's because you're in the wilderness. Why do people keep ignoring your phone calls? It's because you're in the wilderness. Why does it seem you're so alone right now? It's because you're in the wilderness. Why can't you find one successful relationship and you really think it ain't me, it's them? It's because you're in the wilderness. And can I tell you why God intentionally leads you into the wilderness sometimes? It's because you and I use the GPS, but God uses a GPS. Let me bring that back. I'll try it one more time. You and I use a GPS, but God uses a GPS. You see, the difference is in the G. Our destination and our travel is dependent upon a global positioning system, but God always utilizes a glory positioning system. And I want to suggest to somebody here today, I didn't say you can handle the wilderness because you got it all together. I'm not suggesting you can handle the wilderness because of your degrees that are on the wall. I'm not suggesting you can handle the wilderness because you got all the right resources. I'm trying to tell you that you can handle the wilderness because of the glory if you allow it to lead you. I'm trying to tell somebody here today, sometimes God and man lead differently. We don't make our decisions based on the globe. God makes his based on the glory. 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 How can we maneuver the wilderness? How can we maneuver the wilderness? And I want to suggest here, friends, that you and I can maneuver it when we are led by glory. If you're taking notes, I want you to write this down. I want you to write this down, that glory guides in light of our identity. Glory always guides in light of our identity. Verse 17, when Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them along the road to the land of the Philistines, even though it was nearby. For God said, the people are going to change their minds and return to Egypt if they face war. So he led the people around toward the Red Sea along the road of the wilderness. And the Israelites left the land of Egypt in battle formation. Please note, they are leaving Egypt. And verse 17 says, God did not lead them along the road to the land of the Philistines, even though it was nearby. You know, actuality, it's difficult to trace this exact route. What is clear is that this route is a detour from what would have been the most convenient route. However, what is interesting is that there is no mention of Mount Horeb or Mount Sinai. You see, this is important because the promise in Exodus chapter 3 is, verse 12 says, you all are going to worship God on this mountain. But when God is leading them away, God never makes mention of the mountain. The destination is the mountain, but that destination isn't mentioned on the route. And one scholar suggests the reason why God never mentions the destination of the mountain on the route is because that is not their next stop. Their next stop is the wilderness. Now, I got to be honest here, friends. I got to be honest here, family. I don't know if I like that too much. Because this bothers me to some degree, because what it communicates is that God is not just concerned with getting me to the mountain. We are not allowed to bypass the interim wilderness periods and seasons of our lives. I wish you could just get to the mountain. I wish you could just get a new job. I wish everything would just work out immediately. But no, the next stop on the journey and the most necessary stop on the journey is the wilderness. I came with bad news today. I came with bad news for today to somebody. You've got to go through the wilderness. God is not going to allow you to skip the wilderness. The question then becomes, why not a more direct route? Why take them this way? And I'm so glad you asked. The text gives us rationale because it says the people will change their minds. And not just change their minds, they will change their minds and return to the place you delivered them from. You see, God knows who they are. And it's not just that God knows who they are. God knows who they are even if they don't know who they are. God understands that newly delivered slaves aren't ready. God, and because I know you aren't ready, I've got to lead you another way. Allow me to use my spiritual imagination here. I believe that some of these people here that God was talking to are actual members of FIBC. And if they are members of FIBC, I can hear God saying, I'm going to take you all on this particular route. I'm going to take you on this way. And I can hear some of y'all in the back, nah, God, I think we can take them. I think we got a better way. Matter of fact, we've been looking at the landscape. We understand what's going on. We've been living in the valley longer than you. We know what's going on. My grandmama was a member here. My daddy was a member here. I know, yeah. No, I got another way, God. I think I know how to go, but hear me. You know, it's very human, friends, of us, for either of us to either overestimate ourselves or to underestimate ourselves. Can I bring you here? Some of us, we think we are better than people, and we all that in a bag of chips, while some of you severely struggle to see the God-given ability on the inside of you. And I got to tell you something, either one on the spectrum is extremely dangerous. If you're on either side of the spectrum, you are in a bad place, friends. And God says, I understand that I can't make decisions for them based on their perception of themselves. And God said, I'm going to take the wheel and lead you another way. God doesn't do what some of us do. God doesn't lead them solely based off their potential. That's why you're in a bad relationship right now. Why? Because you're dating off potential. That's why you moved and didn't do your study. Why? Because you're moving off potential. And God said, I'm not going to move based upon what you think about yourself. I'm going to move based upon what I know the truth is about you. And I don't know about you, but that's why I always trust in God wherever I may be, out on the land or out on the raging sea. Though billows may roll, my heavenly Father, he keeps my soul and he watches over me. Wait. God says, I've got to lead them another way because they will change their minds. They will change their minds. But please, if you're reading your Bible, it's in there. If you ain't torn it out, the text says, verse 18 says, they left the land of Egypt in battle formation. This is important because God leads them in a specific way because they're going to face war. But they still leave in battle formation. Why would God do this? Because this presents an issue. Because what it seems to suggest is that God knew that certain enemies they would encounter on one road they wouldn't be able to overcome. But there would be some other enemies on another road that they would be able to fight. God knows what battles you can win and what battles you can't win. You know, I think what you and I ought to learn about this is that you need to be happy with your own route. I am happy with my route, and all of us know people that have other routes. But you won't be honest that there are some things you've seen other people go through that would have taken you out. And there are things that you went through that others wouldn't have survived, because God knows what you can handle and what your neighbor can handle. And that's why we're going to take about 10 to 15 seconds and not thank God for a new car or a new house. I'm going to thank God for my route. I'm going to thank God for my route. I'm going to thank God for where God has me. If you get a new house before me, I ain't going to be mad. I'm going to celebrate you and still celebrate my route. If you get a new car, I ain't mad at you. Go drive your new car. As a matter of fact, let me get a ride sometimes. I'm just still going to celebrate my route. If you get a new job before I do and we applied at the same time, I ain't mad at you. Why? Because I'm celebrating my route. And on my route, God has things for me. And on your route, God has things for you. Because God's got a blessing with my name on it. And what God has for me, it is for me. I wish today some of us would be free from comparing our lives to other people. I wish some of you would stop comparing yourself to other people that are the same age as you. I wish some of you would stop comparing yourself to people that are around you. Just celebrate your route. But then, it doesn't stop there. Verse 20. Not only does glory guide in light of identity, but then also glory guides intuitively. Verse 20, they set out from Succoth and camped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord goes ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to lead them on the day, pillar of fire to lead them at night, so that they could travel day and night. Pillar of cloud by day, pillar of fire by night, but the pillars never left from being in front of the people. Friends, I told y'all one of the things we're gonna learn and shout here. The Hebrew word for glory is this Hebrew word kabod or kavod. It's an interesting word because it literally means heaviness or weight. You know, glory is interesting because it shows up a number of different ways in the Old Testament. Later on in Exodus, it's the glory that is settling on the mountain, and the writer says it's like a devouring fire. Moses in Exodus 33 is going to ask God to show him his glory. In 1 Samuel, the Philistines are going to take the Ark of the Covenant, and Eli's daughter is going to have a son and name him Ichabod. Why? Because it means that the glory has been captured. There's something interesting about glory. But there's something even more interesting about glory. Look at verses 20 through 22. Underline them or highlight them in your Bibles. It says they set out from Succoth, camp at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to lead them on their way during the day, and a pillar of fire to give them light at night so they could travel day and night. Glory shows up leading in the wilderness by fire and by cloud. During the day, glory would be a cloud. During the night, glory will be a fire. And I love what the text says, but preachers, I also love what the text doesn't say. Glory doesn't wait to be asked. The glory just changes based upon the need of the people at that particular time. You see, what it introduces is that the glory of God is always dynamic in nature. It's dynamic in nature because when it's necessary to be a cloud, it can be a cloud. But when it's necessary to be fire, it can be fire. In the heat of the day, the cloud would serve as a shield against the direct rays of the sun to prevent dehydration, amongst other things, from the children of Israel while traveling. But don't forget about the fire. The fire would be the thing that when they got to the Red Sea, it would go behind them and not just protect Pharaoh from them, but protect them from Pharaoh, for sight and protection. One writer says that if you divide Exodus into two halves, then thematically it's about rescue in the first half and response to the rescue in the second half. What undergirds both things is presence. What allows for rescue to happen is the presence of God, and what allows a response is the presence of God, and what keeps them afterwards is always the presence of God. As a matter of fact, glory here mirrors what Moses experiences in Exodus chapter 3. Both Moses and the people have an experience with the presence of God. Can I park here parenthetically? Because even though I've only been here for about 2 months now, there have been some of you that have been trying to come and talk to me around various things, and I'm always here as much as I can. I love to talk to you, some of y'all, but hear me. Also to some of you that I've been trying to communicate is that, yeah, I don't have a full-on autonomy or monopoly on the Bible. I don't have a monopoly on the Spirit of God. I ain't the only somebody that can pray. I ain't the only somebody that can read the Bible. As a matter of fact, if we wanted God to do major things in our church and in our lives, I gotta have my experience with glory, and you gotta have your experience with glory. You gotta have your time to read the Bible, and I gotta have my time to read the Bible. You gotta have glory on both sides. It shows us, it demonstrates to us, friends, that the glory has both intelligence and intuition. Glory knows what you need even before you need it. Glory knows what you need, and even what you need when you don't know what you need. And glory even knows what you need when you don't know what you need. It even knows how you need what you need, even when you don't know what you need. There have been so many times. There have been so many times in my life and your life that God knew what I needed before I even needed it. That's what happened. That's what happened to this man by the name of William Cooper. Cooper had made the decision, Dr. Watson, to end it all. He called a cab to take him to the Thames River. It was a dense fog that came over the city, and they got lost in the fog. And Cooper fell asleep in the back of the cab. And the driver drives around the city. In some kind of way, senses the melancholy of Cooper. And when Cooper wakes up, he finds himself back at the doorstep he left. Cooper then wakes up, goes into the house and grabs a pen and writes these words: God moves in mysterious ways. His wonders to perform. He plants his footsteps on the sea and he rides the storm. I'm trying to tell you, friends, God has a way of leading you even when you don't even know what's going on. You can always trust God to lead you in the wilderness. I'm done. But finally, you keep on reading, you know that glory also guides with intention. Verse 19, probably my favorite verse of the passage. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph made the Israelites swear an oath saying, God is going to come to your aid. And then you're going to take the bones, my bones, from this place. Verse 19. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph made them swear an oath. Don't skip over that. It's important. Because before leaving Egypt, they had to go and get Moses' bones. Before leaving, they couldn't leave until they went to go get the bones of Joseph. It's not just the bones of Joseph that goes, they had preserved the body of Joseph. It was a mummy, if you will. They make the decision to carry the mummified remains of Joseph when leaving Egypt, because before Joseph dies, he makes them make a promise to him to take him with them when they leave. In your Bible, when you get home, read Genesis 50, verse 25. It says Joseph made the sons of Israel take an oath that when God comes to your aid, you're going to carry the bones up from here. So Joseph dies in Egypt, and they place embalm and they place him in a coffin in Egypt. Now that happened in Genesis 50. We're reading in the book of Exodus. Now I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Genesis comes before. I'm just trying to say. I want you to get it. I don't know if you knew it, but Genesis comes before the book of Exodus. In other words, what happens in Genesis is tied to what happens in the book of Exodus. You see, now what happens is Genesis occurs before. In Exodus, Joseph already prophetically spoke that God is going to come and see about you, and then they are slaves for 430 years, but they got the bones. Maybe you don't remember what happened in Egypt. Before Exodus ever came, they had the bones. Before Shipra and Puah saved a generation of boys, they had the bones. Before Moses is taken from the Nile River, they had the bones. Before Moses kills a man and runs off into Midian, they had the bones. And before even the burning bush, and God speaks to Moses and tells him to go back to get his people, they still had the bones. I think this is providential on behalf of God, because sometimes carrying bones is not convenient. They are in the wilderness. They are in the desert. It would have been more convenient for them to leave the bones and maybe even bury them in the wilderness, or maybe have to have just left them in Egypt. But no, they have to carry the bones, because even the bones of Joseph testify to them that God was on their side and God had a plan. The bones had a way of speaking and saying that God is going to come and see about you. Can I park here for a moment? Because this is important, because it's so easy sometimes for us to forget the bones and the stories of our forefathers and foremothers that came before us. And while we're having to navigate the uncertain terrain of artificial intelligence and everything that's happening with a Trump administration, inflation still on the rise, genocide in Gaza, SNAP benefits being cut, not knowing if a recession is coming, and so many other things, we still got bones. And that's why it's important for you to always share your story, because bones always have a way of testifying. Bones always have a way of saying, this ain't the first time we done had a nut in the White House. Bones always have a way of testifying. This ain't the first time you've been broke before. Bones always have a way of testifying. I know them children getting on your nerves, but grandmama was able to raise them off one chicken and a loaf of bread and make it last all week long. Bones always have a way of testifying. They let us know that if he did it before, then he's able to do it. I'm done. They are being led through the wilderness. They are being led through the wilderness. I got one final concern, and I promise I'm done. It's an issue of position. Because when following glory, they are not just positioned behind and below the glory, but what is their position time-wise? I got to be honest with y'all. When I was putting this together, I had no idea how I was going to end this sermon. I had no idea. How I was going to end this sermon. But I called Dr. Judy Fentress Williams, the lady I made mention of, the scholar I made mention of in the beginning. I called Dr. Judy. I said, Dr. Judy, I need to talk to you about this passage, because I'm noticing some things in the passage and I need some help. And if you know Dr. Judy, then you know she is brilliant in her own way, and she brought out something that I didn't see initially. You go back to verse 11, and it reads in verse 11, when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, as he swore to you and your ancestors, and gives it to you. Verse 11 through 16, she said, are written in the future tense. Stay with me. Verses 11 through 16 are written in the future. But when we get to verse 17, it's written in the past. It begins talking about what God will do. And then some kind of way between verses 16 and 17 switches to talking about what God already did. And I said, Dr. Judy, what does that mean? And she said, Ty, and I want to get this to you, and I'm done. Sometimes when God's work may be ahead of us, but from God's perspective, it's already done. Bye-bye. May God bless y'all real good. But that's all I came today to tell somebody why you can handle the wilderness. It's because the glory that you have been following would allow you to confidently say, it's already been done. Why don't you nudge your neighbor? I feel good. Why don't you nudge your neighbor and say, neighbor, it's already done. That was the wrong neighbor. Grab somebody else and said, neighbor, it's already done. You know, that is why we came to know the Lord in the first place. Because the Bible tells us that before the foundation of the world was set, that the Lamb of God was slain. In other words, before you came into the world, and before your family and your mama and daddy got together, you were already in the process of being saved. Because I know it wasn't done from your perspective, but from God's perspective, it was already done. Do I have a witness? And I promise y'all I'm done here, but I gotta get out of here. But I've seen the lightning flash, and I've had the thunder roar. I felt sin breakers dashing, trying to conquer my soul, but because it's already done, I heard the voice of Jesus telling me to keep on fighting, and he promised never to leave me, and he'll never leave me alone. Can you help your neighbor and say, neighbor, you are never alone. I know you may be broken, but you're never alone. I know you may feel lonely, but you're never alone. If you believe it today, lift your hands one more time. Shout yes! Shout yes! Shout yes! We're standing all over the building.
Family, I pray and hope that something was said that made your life to better. You can handle the wilderness. As always, I appreciate you tuning in with us all the time, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with us, and we appreciate it. Do us a favor. If you still want to finish strong, you can tap in the description. And if you want to be a member or you want to sow into our ministry, this is a good place and good ground for you to sow. I believe God's doing something great, and I want you to be a part. I love you. It's your favorite. Peace.